Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Dissidia. It's been a while since the last update. So long so that even the game has started to miss me. But I'm back now, and I'm here to bring this LP back on track. So this time around we'll be playing as a new character. Of course, I just have to get through all these tutorial windows. So the new character in question is Yuna. If I can figure out how to select her. So Yuna isn't really a character you would expect to find in a fighting game. And that's because in the original Final Fantasy X game, she was the healer and the summoner of the group. And that means that she, first of all, is a magician, and second of all, is in a supportive role. So it's not someone you would expect to find amongst the people who, well, amongst the characters in this game. For obvious reasons. Yuna, of course, also works a bit differently from other characters. And that's because her main fighting style is revolving around the aeons that she can summon. Of course, it's just visual flair, but I think it's pretty cool. So Yuna is actually a fairly well-balanced character, and she can do most of everything. Not only that, but her attacks also combo well with each other, and they have a nice variety to them. She is also fairly easy to play, and her strength lies in being a duodism character, and that means that the AI isn't really programmed to avoid her attacks properly. So even at higher difficulties, you will have fairly easy time to hit with attacks. However, for the purposes of this LP, we won't be playing. Well, we will be playing her, but I haven't been playing her as long as other characters. And I'm also fairly unfamiliar with all of her attacks. But I know for a fact that it will take quite a while for her to gain new attacks. So we've almost seen all the attacks that she can do for this chapter. And that being the case, I will edit out more fights than usual. Mainly because there is little variety to it.
Because of all of you.
That being said, it's not like I don't like Yuna, or I don't like playing as her, but I just think there are other characters who are more fun to play as and more interesting to play, I mean.
It seems that this is inevitable. Ifrit, fist of hellfire.
So if it is the typical melee attack, it serves to push opponents away, which you can then follow up with either energy ray or Bama's ranged attack. As for aerial combat, Yuna has Shiva, who has a fairly low range, all things considered. And she also starts out with a Force Hammer, which works as a hammer. It's really good at attacking enemies that are below you. But it does have some vertical tracking. That said, there isn't really much else to talk about for Yuna.
For the hope of the world.
Well, not in traditional combat, at the very least. Her X-Burst is also rather unique, considering other characters, because in Final Fantasy X, she didn't have a unique overdrive.
I will cast them away.
The way combat or Yuna worked in Final Fantasy X was that she could summon an Aeon, who would replace the party, and had its own health pool and limit break. Well, overdrive is the correct term for Final Fantasy X. And that means that Yuna, whenever she got her overdrive bar, she could use it to give another summon a full overdrive immediately. So the X-Burst in Dissidia is inspired by a cutscene in Final Fantasy X, where Yuna is sending the souls of the dead to the afterlife. Of course, in that cutscene she didn't summon various Aeons to blast the souls of the dead into nothingness. But that's just a little creativity that the creators have given her. So this is where we'll say goodbye with Jacked.
Sir Jekt? Sir Jekt, where are you? He's gone. Guess I'm alone. Better try and find him. Right? Wonder if a whistle would work here. Maybe in this world, he might really come running. Oh well. Wishful thinking.
Sorry. You alright? You, shouldn't hang around here. This place is kinda dangerous.
Titus.
Huh? Did we meet somewhere before? Anyway, sorry. Really gotta get going.
That's him. No mistaking it. That's really him. Titus, wait!
So, right off the bat, I just want to say that that is not how you pronounce Titus's name. I know he can be tedious, but I don't think that should be inflicted in his name. Anyways, that cutscene was a throwback to the original game, where Titus taught Yuna how to do the whole whistle thing. It's not a skill that I can brag of having. It's also a throwback to the ending of Final Fantasy X, where, spoiler alert, Titus kind of disappears. It's interesting to note that the Yuna we see here is from right after Final Fantasy X, and not the Yuna from the sequel from Final Fantasy X. Because there was a sequel to Final Fantasy X, apparently. I haven't played it. I didn't hear any good things about it, so I decided not to. I mean, I liked Final Fantasy X, but I don't know. The sequel just never felt right to me. Actually, come to think of it, Final Fantasy X is the first of many things in Final Fantasy. It was the first game to be voice acted. It was also the first Final Fantasy game. Well, it was the first Final Fantasy game to be voice acted, and it was the first Final Fantasy game to be released on the PS2. It's also the first Final Fantasy game to get a straight sequel. And as you can see with the other sequels for the other games, that kind of set up a bad precedent, at least in my opinion. I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy IV, the after years, and well, all of Final Fantasy 13 games, really. But maybe it's a bit harsh to blame that on Final Fantasy X. So for this gate we'll have Sedan as our support. And Sedan isn't a particularly good support. Also of note, I've actually equipped Yuna with all the things I had laying around. So fights will be a little bit faster now. I really like this this arena. There are a lot of things to move around on. It looks very interesting, and well, it is interesting. It's also the last scene. Well, it's from the last scene in Final Fantasy X, where the party fights the final boss. I can't remember if I've talked about this before, but not all stages has solid ground to walk on. There will be places, like on this stage, where you can fall down in the pit. And in doing so, you will be put into a void trap. While you are in a void trap, you will slowly take bravery damage, and if you stay too long in a void trap, you will be teleported to the nearest platform and lose a chunk of your bravery.
Bear with me, if you will. This is a hellfire. Bahamut. Cascading strength.
This is an example of when not to use Bama's charge attack, because it resulted in me missing my my attack altogether. The Emperor is an interesting opponent to fight against, for a reason I will talk about later. I tried to show it off here, but I forgot Energy Ray cannot deflect projectiles. So I'll just have to beat him up the old-fashioned way. Also I've noticed is the Summon Stone he used, which I think was Bahamut. It gives him a massive bravery generation effect, as you can see. In situations like these, you just have to, well, kill them before it becomes a problem.
I won't, because of all of you.
There are no real ways to stop Summon Stone effects, I think. So even though it's a time, it is an effect over time, you can't really do anything to stop it.
I will face you. Bahamut. Strike down. Here's the darkness. Guidance with your light.
You're mine.
Ifrit. Strike down.
Just leave it to me.
Just because I'm LPing the game doesn't mean that I'm not subjected to screwing around. And messing up, of course. I really wish there were more I could talk about, but considering there aren't really any new attacks to be gained in this episode,
Because of all of you.
there is little variety in the attacks that I can actually do, and there aren't really any new enemies to be worried about, or any new tactics to encounter, or even any new content to think about. And unfortunately we're also still stuck in the tutorial zone, so there's little I can do to spice things up. What I can do is grabbing the worst summon stone in the game, for reasons that will become immediately obvious when we look at it. As you can see, it's an automatic effect, and what it does, it stops an opponent from using their summon stone for a short period of time. It would be useful if we had manual control of it, but we don't. It only triggers when we get broken. Lastly, this is just me showing off and finally using one of the X-charges I have. X-charges isn't just for a single battle, but for a full chain. So if I had used it earlier when I had 4 opponents lined up in a chain, I would have a full X meter for each fight.
For the hope of the world.
So what makes Yuna's X mode unique is that she summons 2 Aeons to attack at once instead of just one, effectively doubling her attack power. It looks really cool if there isn't too many details and if it doesn't look too messy. And I'm also screwing up the QD, and it's not on purpose. Yuna's X-burst is also one of the few that doesn't really change if you screw up. Like I've mentioned, some characters' X-burst will change if you screw up the QD. So to end things off this time around, and hopefully allow me to get back into the groove of commentating, we will be sending our mannequin clone to the afterlife.
For the hope of the world. Strike down. Here's the darkness.
There's really no reason for me to include this fight except for the fact that it's Yuna exercising herself.
I will cast them away.
And with that, we are at an end for today's update. It's a little bit shorter than other videos. That's because I've cut out a few needless battles here and there. Also, I'm sorry if commentating isn't really up to par today. I'm not really into the thick of things yet, so I kinda have to start from scratch again. A little bit annoying, but I'll get through it faster this time. And with that, thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time.